Good evening, and welcome back to Dork Points! Hello everybody, this is Ron, and it's a very special Halloween episode. Yes, the top 10 freakiest gaming moments that I've played. We're going to start it real quick. Here we go, we're already into it. It is number 10, Medieval. Medieval is a wonderful game. It was originally for the PlayStation 1. The remake is fantastic as well. I honestly prefer the original myself, but the Sleeping Village, more like the Possessed Village. Yeah, all the townspeople are evil and they're coming after you. There is a sense of stress and pressure in this level because you don't necessarily want to kill the townspeople, but they're coming after you. And they're mean and scary. Yeah, it's anxiety-inducing. Okay, so coming in at number 9, it's this nice little RPG-looking game. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Undertale. No, it's not. It's called Deltarune. Deltarune is the sequel to Undertale, and me and my daughter Charlie, we played through Chapter 1, which was free to play. I don't know if it is anymore, but it was free to play for the PS4. And yeah, we played through the game, and it's fairly kid-friendly. Even Undertale has a lot of adult vibes and stuff. But so we got to the end of Chapter 1 of Deltarune, and this is it. Creepy walking kid. He holds out his hand, I guess that is, and he rips out his heart. Yeah, this ain't Zelda. This is something darker. God, and he walks back here, pulls out a knife, and gives us the winky, scary red eye. Yeah. Talk about games you maybe shouldn't play with your kids, but that ended, and my jaw dropped. And then, of course, I turned over to my daughter, and she just looked like a train had hit her. She had the same expression I had. It's an amazing game. It's really fun to play. But that ending is pretty disturbing. I'm a bad parent. Yeah. Oh, this music is lovely too. I kept this in just because it's beautiful to hear. So there you go. That was number 9 with Deltarune, and now it's a game that I hate. It's just a terrible game. It's Lizard Lady and the Cats. And what is scary about Lizard Lady and the Cats? That right there. Lizard Lady's face. I don't know who's making these 99-cent games and putting them out, but look at that. That's terrifying. Yeah. Lizard Lady's face. And yeah, she says, I'm gonna murder them all. Of course she will. Just look at that face. Let it haunt your dreams. And the game? Yeah, the game is just as horrible. Alright, moving on to Doom 3. Doom 3, yes, this is an older game, and there are going to be some older games on this list, but I just played this recently for the first time, the Doom 3, I don't know if you call it a remake or whatever, but it's got a spider lady. The first major boss is this giant spider lady, and yeah, I don't know, big spiders, it's horrifying. I almost put Bee Simulator on this list as well, when you get trapped in the spider web. Alright, moving on. It is, well, yeah, you know what it is. And if you don't, okay, this is Five Nights at Freddy's. which is kind of a survival horror. I think it was made for PC originally, and I always wanted to play it. I always saw different things about it, but it's well, it's okay. It's just it's not like a regular game. It's like a point and click or some kind of simulation game, and it's kind of meant to scare you, and that's about it. I didn't get much enjoyment out of it, other than the first, this thing, the first initial, the moment your battery runs out. I don't know how you survive this game. I've played it like 5 times now, and I pretty much haven't gotten past this part, if I'm honest. But I was playing it, and I was kind of like, okay, whatever. Oh, that's scary? And then, the lights go out. And you're like, okay. What's going to happen? Is the lights out? I don't like that. I think the whole thing was there was many videos of people like scaring their grandparents with that game and stuff, and that's how it caught on. Okay, moving on. Another kind of retro game, but again, if we're talking about freaky, anxiety-inducing moments in video games, this one's up there for sure. This is Max Payne, the original Max Payne, and this is the freaky blood trail nightmare level with the baby screaming the whole time, and you gotta go down these long, disturbing hallways, and people think of Max Payne as a shooter, but man, the first one was really more of an endurance test. And there's two nightmare levels in Max Payne that start off the second and third chapter, and they are almost impossible to beat. Like, you'd need a guide or just patience forever. Alright, now look at this beautiful world, this beautiful place. It is the wonderful and amazing Bioshock, one of my favorite games of all time. If you have not played Bioshock, any of them, please play them. Bioshock 1 is a masterpiece. I know some people don't like 3. I personally enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, this was one of the first games that I played where I just thought, wow, this is as close to perfection as they can get. And I still replay it to this day, once every year or so, and I'm just blown away still. So what's so freaky about Bioshock? Well, it doesn't sell itself as a straight-up horror game, but I knew it was going to be freaky, but I didn't know how freaky. There's lots of things in Bioshock that you can point out as freaky moments and scary moments, but from the get-go we get the introduction of the Spider Slicer. Yes, and every glimpse of the Spider Slicer is horrifying. There are some other great moments in this game that I should mention, including when you get to the weird guy who has all the mannequins, and then one of the mannequins kind of like comes to life because there's kind of like chameleon splicers who can disguise themselves as anything, and there's a moment in the scary hallway where a mannequin just like starts moving, and that's up there too. But this is the beginning of the game. This is your first moment, your first playable moment of the game. And you get to see the Spider Slicer for the first time. And you don't actually have to face one until you're fairly leveled up in the game, which is cool. But all throughout the game, you're getting these little moments, these little run-ins with the Spider Slicer. Oh yeah, and there's Atlas. Would you kindly? Would you kindly? Alright, I'm gonna be quiet here. Here's a really freaky moment. Yeah, that's the Spider Slicer again. She said, "I'll wrap you in a sheet." Oh, and that little glimpse too. Yeah. Again, there's so many freaky moments. There's also the plastic surgeon guy in this game. That's a horrifying moment. And then the lady talking to what turns out to be an empty baby carriage. Yeah, this game is still amazing. All right, this should be obvious.
I'm plowing now. I've done.
I'm sorry, people. Yeah.
The grave's done.
Is it freaky or is it just arduous or I don't know. There's something that in some of these games they just make your gut sink in a very bad way. Yeah. The botchling from Witcher 3 or Witcher what is it? Wild Hunt? This whole scene is hard to get through, especially as a parent, and at the time I think I was a pretty new parent, but dealing with death is one thing, and violence and horror, but when you add that level of a dead baby monster, it just gets ooky. Ooky! I said it. It's ooky.
Pick it up.
And I'm going to talk over this whole thing, because it really is. Like, the Max Payne baby level, I kind of wanted to have a scene in there where I just played like 30 seconds of it to really haunt your dreams, and not talk over it. I might do that at the end of the video. I might. But this one, I'm going to absolutely 100% talk over, because it's just... God, it's just so hard to take. It's weird. Little baby monster sucking on its toes. Ugh. And then he's got to give it a name, and he's got to go through all this stuff. Also, the Bloody Baron. Let's just talk about the Bloody Baron for a second. Probably the most horrible character in the game. And there was another segment that could very easily take the place of this one after this, where you go and search for his wife and you find these 3 witches. That stuff is super disturbing as well. The 3 witches is triple ooky, yeah. And I was thinking about doing that as the list, but yeah, weird baby monsters dead now. But yeah, either moment in this game is just, and then with the witches, it's the whole problem of like trying to save the wife, but you can't save her, and then the Baron, he's got a bad ending. The whole thing's bad. No happy endings there. All right, now moving on. Oh yeah, appropriately at number 2, Hellblade. This is just one of the most intense and scary games I've played in a long time, period. And the whole game is an intense nightmare. But there is one moment in particular where she is going through the trials. There are 2 bosses you kind of have to beat, and then you have to go through these series of trials. The blind trial. The blind trial, where you're... I mean, you can still kind of see, but everything's blurry, and you don't know exactly where you're going, and in the background are all these horrible, disfigured creatures moving around, and you just have to kind of move very slowly and carefully, and I never got killed by one just because I was too scared, so I just was very, very careful with this level, because it was so terrifying. It was like playing real life. Yeah, look at that thing. And I hope you can hear some of the sounds in the background. But God, look at that. But every bit of Hellblade is just a nightmare. Anyway.
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it. As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat. The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Yeah, okay, here we are at number 1. And number 1, as are many games on this list, number 1 is not a horror game. It is What Remains of Edith Finch. There are several moments in this game that I could have picked to highlight. Again, not a horror game, but it is dealing with death. And here you have this story of this little girl who was sent to bed without food. And every story is about the final moment of a character's life. So obviously this isn't going to go well. But yeah, so she eats some toothpaste and some berries and all this crazy stuff, and then she walks to the window and she opens the door, and from here I'll let the game take it. This is the last you're going to hear from me, so happy Halloween. Thank you guys for watching. May this haunt your dreams for the next couple days. Happy Halloween. Here we go. Enjoy.
I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass. A mama rabbit. She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark. I wanted fat, juicy seals. I grabbed on tight. And when I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere. I was big, but I moved real quiet. After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And to cross the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I got closer and closer. All my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to